Hi, coloring friends. Welcome back to my channel. I decided today, in honor of National Mental Health Day, I think that's the exact term. If not, I will put that on the screen. Um, I just thought I would go ahead and just do some simple coloring and talk about some mental health today. I'm working on this two-page spread. This is in Johanna Basford's Enchanted Forest. And I'm going to come in a little closer and then we'll get started. All right, so I decided to do this page in, well, it was meant to be only in shades of orange. Some of these shades, once I didn't swatch them, and once I put them down, they look quite a bit more yellow on the paper than I had intended, or some a bit more brown than I had intended. I was kind of just going off of the barrels and color names. Like I used this Spanish orange from Prismacolor and it turned out quite yellow but that's okay. I was working on, it's for a tag that's being done by Corey from Colorfully Optimistic, and it is only Orange October 2022, and you're supposed to do the page in only shades of orange, which I guess at this point I'm kind of failing, but I'm I'm gonna keep on going anyway. And I mean they're all in a way different tones of orange, so we'll go with that. Um, but I thought I would just talk a little bit. I know it's National Mental Health Day, and we hear a lot about nowadays, I think about normalizing mental health and, um, making it a consideration. And I think really the only way you really normalize it is by more people talking about it and, what it means to them and in their life, how they've worked through different things. So I figured I would um, just talk a little bit about my own mental health journey. I think it is definitely a journey. It's not anything that's ever going to just stay the same forever for anybody. Um, and I'm feel a little nervous. But like I said, I think if more people aren't willing to kind of talk about their experiences and not make it seem like you're exposing yourself, um, then it's not going to become normal. So certainly, I think like most people out there, I have struggled with different mental health issues throughout my life. I think that looking back now, I think I actually had some postpartum depression issues after I had my kids, and I didn't realize it at the time, but despite that, I did end up getting help and, getting what I needed to get through um, that difficult time. Um, and then another time that really threw me for a loop was, of course, the pandemic, and that is kind of what led me here to adult coloring. I actually had this book here, was one of the few books I had um, just in my adult life as a coloring book, and I've always liked to color, which is why I had this. I thought it was so cool that there was a fancy book out there for grown-ups to color. Um, but I didn't really ever delve much more into that, and then, of course, I didn't really color in this very much either. Um, but during the pandemic, like many, I was home. I was teaching preschool, and the preschool shut down and actually decided that they were going to close permanently their program. So I was at that point out of a job even. Um, but we did still do some virtual things with the kids, and we had a virtual graduation for them because I taught the 4-year-old program and, well, I assistant taught. Um, but we thought they needed something, some recognition. Um, and we missed those, we missed seeing them, and getting kind of cut off in our school year. So I was home and, we were slogging through the online schooling with my 3 kids and just uncertainty galore. And I don't do well with that at all. Not at all. So, um, I kind of started to close off like I kind of do when I get anxious um, and depressed eventually is what it comes down to. But certainly anxiety is always a battle for me. But I started to um, hyper focus on watching the news, and I watch the president come out and talk every day that he did, and then would sit and watch all the news reporters and the ones that were sick and quarantining and on and on. And I was letting it consume me, basically. Um, I'm sure I'm not the only one um, that went through that. But so, in order to distract myself, I started watching different YouTube videos, and I'm not sure how I even stumbled upon a coloring channel. I cannot remember now. But I had this coloring book, and then my boss had actually given us a coloring book as a Christmas present um, that year. So I had that, and I pulled that out, and I started coloring it. And I must have searched something, and a coloring channel popped up. And then I, just went down the rabbit hole of watching different people's coloring channels. And I was just completely sucked in. And um, I did order from Amazon, I think 2. I ordered a color by number because, um, when your mind is just running a mile a minute, sometimes a color by number is just what you need to just um, zone out. So I ordered a color by number, and then I ordered Sun Life Drawings. It was like a variety coloring book. It's actually one that I'm hoping to complete this year. Um, and I just dove into it, and I put on coloring channels, and I would sit and watch or listen to them, or both, and color. And um, it's been, I mean, I just really credit it to helping me get through that difficult time that the pandemic was. Um, and even still, this is what I turn to now when I need to let the day fall away and let my mind be at rest. And on some days, it's good because it preoccupies my mind and I'm busy thinking about what colors to make things. And on other days where I'm too exhausted to make a decision on colors, then I pull out the color by numbers and let my mind just drift while and usually watch other coloring videos out there. I'm extremely thankful to the coloring community and all the wonderful people who make videos because it's made a big impact for me, for sure. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about beyond coloring, what things I've learned to do if I'm having a difficult time, if I'm feeling the anxiety that I deal with on a daily basis, but if I feel it getting harder to manage, things that I like to do. Um, so one thing that I find extremely helpful is um, making a brain dump basically. So everything that's swirling around, like this time of year especially, we're super busy coming up, and we've got birthdays galore coming up, and the holidays just beyond that, and I'm signing up to volunteer for things like trunk or treat, and then my work's gonna get busy and on, and there's just seems like so many things to prep and plan for and make sure I'm on top of and juggle. And so I just get out a notepad and I sit and write things I have to have done. And I just list every little thing I can think of. And it really is like getting it out of my brain and in front of me, and I can look at it and think, okay, I can tackle this. Let me break it down into chunks. Let me, see if there's something that I can ask someone else to um, help out with. And if I have it all on in front of me, then I know I'm staying on top of it because it's all right in front of me. Just makes it like concrete. Um, Another thing I like to do, I'm not the best at being extremely consistent with it, but I do feel like it really does help when I do it, is I use the Calm app, and I will do the guided meditations that they have out there, the daily ones. And I do believe I do buy the subscription to it because I really do love it. But I do believe you can access quite a good number of things for free on the app as well. So if you're curious and want to try it out, I think you can do that for free. That's how I started with it, at least, was there were, uh, a fair number of things you could just to get a good idea of how the app works and everything. And then when you buy the service, it opens up a lot more things. My youngest likes to listen to their sleep stories they have out there sometimes, and I will listen to the sleep stories too. And they have adult ones, but sometimes I will put on the kid ones as well. Um, just because sometimes it's comforting. Um, so yeah, I will either do a guided meditation, and they take, I think, like 10 minutes. And sometimes that is enough to reset my brain, and, you know, I feel like I took a break. Or at night, sometimes I will put on a sleep story, and I'm telling you, I never make it to the end of one. And without it, my mind would just buzz around forever, but I put on one and I don't make it to the end of it, neither does my daughter. She never makes it to the end of one. It always cracks me up. Um, yeah, so the Calm app. Another thing I enjoy, this has been around for a while, but I have the 5 minute journal. I know I'm really close here. But it just takes 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, and you sit and jot down three things you're grateful for in the morning, three things that would make the day great. You can come up with a daily affirmation, and then at night you come back to it and you write three amazing things that happened and how today could have been better. And sometimes that's nice to focus. Certainly taking a step back and making yourself acknowledge the things that there are to be grateful for, um, really does a world of wonder too. I know a lot of people talk about that, but it does help. It's not a miracle cure, obviously. I mean, and there, like I said, I'm not really consistent with that, and there are some days where it's very hard for me to sit down and want to do that. So, that's not a big go-to all the time, but I don't think there's a one size fits all. What's going to make you feel better in one day isn't necessarily going to be what works in another day. Um, and you just gotta listen to yourself. Um, Another big one for me is just doing nothing but laying down and snuggling with my pets. Um, and that just, I mean, there's actually science behind that. I think it releases oxytocin. I think that's it. Um, so it releases those feel good hormones when you do that. And if you don't have a pet, I've heard it works well with loved ones as well. So, um, yeah, so that's something I like to do. Um, on Trying to think, coloring's my big one though, for sure. That's like it's a daily must do for me at this point. Um, and then on a more, I guess on a higher level, um, when you're really struggling and you need help, um, I I have gotten to the point where I've had to ask for help, and that can look like talking to a doctor and saying, "I don't feel normal. This is not right. What can I do?" It can be talking to a therapist. Um, I do think it's important to find a therapist that you fit well with. Um, it's another one of those, it's not a one size fits all, so you kind of you may need to search a little bit to find the one that is best for you. Um, and then friends and family members, sometimes all it takes is just letting it out a little bit that things are not okay, and you will be surprised that there will be people who step up. And I'm fortunate to have had that. Um, let's see. I have finished that little grouping of leaves. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. Um, and I know sometimes when I have reached out to people, I didn't intentionally even realize I was doing it until after the fact, and then, been approached with offers to go out and talk. And I know the one time I kind of just let out unconsciously said something, and a friend followed up, and I was like, "Did I mention that this was an issue?" And they were like, "Yeah, you did say something about it." And I honestly did not even realize, but it was what I needed. It was what I needed somebody to talk to. And I guess unconsciously I was sending out that cry for help. Um, and one thing that I've told other people in my life who I know have struggled is, oh, please forgive me for the dogs barking. Okay, sorry about that. I think she might be done for the moment. Um, yeah, one thing I know I've said very emphatically, I guess, to people in my life who have, I know are struggling or have been struggling is no matter what, if you are really struggling, you tell somebody. Just tell somebody. And it could be anybody, a friend, a mentor, a teacher. Just don't let don't let it just sit inside of you. Um, because at the end of the day, people care. And it might not seem like it, and you know, everybody's busy, and I know some people are going through their own things, and um, but I guarantee you, if you keep reaching out, you will find somebody who cares. Um, and I mean, today I had a customer um, ask me when my last mammogram was, and she said that she has a close friend who was just diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and she had, I guess, let things slide and pushed back her mammogram because of the pandemic. And when she finally went and got it looked at, um, there they were. And so this lady said that she's going around now, and all the women she runs into, she's asking if they're current on their mammograms. And that just struck me that there's absolute, complete, perfect strangers, and they care. They care about you. That's why I said if you look hard enough, you will find people who care. If you're not able to find it with people who are close to you in your life, which I hope that's not the case for anybody, but if it is the case, there you will be able to find people out there who care. Um, so yeah, so reach out if you need help, if you're feeling bad and down. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to add to this. You know, I hope nobody's out there struggling right now and, not knowing where to turn or how to get out of it. Um, I think in a lot of ways, most people go through a time at least once in their life, I would think, where they just feel down or like things aren't going their way or just completely overwhelmed. Um, and it's good to have tools to know how to tackle those feelings. And it's good to have people to talk to about it in whatever form that may come. And I think the other thing is it's good to know to keep in mind not to settle, not to just accept that you have to feel that way forever. And I know that a lot of those feelings aren't always easy to control, and sometimes you do need the extra help to get through that, whether it's medication or therapy or, whatever it may be, a combination of things. But don't settle. Keep trying to find what works for you because it can be better. I think that's the big thing is never lose faith that it can be better. All right. I think I am going to end it there. I hope that this wasn't just super boring, me just blathering on. I hope that, um, you know, it just added out into the world the normalization of talking about, struggling with mental health at times and things you can do to keep yourself healthy, really. Um, so I hope everyone out there is well and feeling good tonight. And thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.